young children, older parents, multiple jobs, trying to figure out our finances, personal relationships and friendships that are shifting and changing, in addition to what is going on with our bodies. It's a lot. Salam and hello everyone. Welcome to or welcome back to the channel. I hope that you are all doing very well. In today's video, I want to discuss with you 4 uncommon symptoms of inflammation. Now, when we think about inflammation, we might think about joint pain or swelling or even fever. However, there are some uncommon symptoms that we might not even know exist. Some of them were even surprising to me when I was doing some research on this. One thing I want to mention is that these symptoms are seen more so in women as we reach a certain age. Once we reach that perimenopausal, menopausal state of life. And that's why I wanted to discuss with you today, because I don't want you to think that, oh, these are just ailments that can't really affect or impact my life, because they can. But more importantly, I want you to find solutions. I want you to think about a couple of the solutions that I'm going to provide for you that can either alleviate or help, eliminate these symptoms. Of course, I want you to always consult with your local pharmacist or your healthcare provider before trying anything. But I do want you to take into consideration, that these are uncommon symptoms that you might be experiencing. So let's dive into what these uncommon symptoms of inflammation are and see if this is something that might be surprising to you. Let's dive in. So first on the list, I want to talk about dry, gritty, or watery eyes. Now, many of you think about dry eyes or watery eyes as something to do with allergies, and that's a fair assumption. That's a fair assessment. However, did you know that dry eye disease or ocular surface inflammatory disorder is actually more common in women as we age, as we reach that perimenopausal state of life? This particular condition impacts women more than even men, for example. So what I want you to do is I want you to consider that we're having hormonal shifts, number one, that affect our tear film stability. But more importantly, I want you to consider how certain solutions might help you. So preservative-free artificial tears is something you can think about, as well as taking screen breaks. If you're staring at your screen, whether it's a work screen, a phone screen, laptop, or computer screen, consider taking breaks from using that constantly and consistently. Also, add omega-3s to your supplement list if that's a possibility for you. And then, of course, see an ophthalmologist or an optometrist for help and guidance to see maybe if there's something else that you can do to, alleviate dry eyes, watery eyes, or gritty eyes. So that's something I want you to consider. Now, the second item on the list that is an uncommon sign of inflammation are bleeding gums. Now, many people don't associate bleeding gums with inflammation. We might think about poor oral hygiene or maybe an irritation that causes bleeding gums. But consider periodontal disease is an inflammatory disorder. It's an inflammatory process, and it's linked to higher risk of heart disease if you didn't know that, because it raises C-reactive proteins, which is an inflammatory protein in the blood. And I talk about C-reactive protein in several of my videos, but this particular video, I think it will be good for you, and I'll link it above. Now, what to do if you are having bleeding gums? Now, there are several things you can do. Number one, pay attention to your oral hygiene. Daily brushing and daily flossing is a must. Using mouthwash or a tongue scraper, I would say those are optional, but I know a lot of people like to include that in their oral hygiene, or it could be a possibility for you to include that in your oral hygiene. So consider that. Also, people like to make sure they have their dental visits scheduled ahead of time. So typically we want to have 2 visits per year. You want to see your dentist 2 visits per year, just to make sure that everything is going well and that your gums, your teeth, everything looks well and your mouth is healthy. Also, if you have diabetes, please make sure your blood sugar is in check. Always try to make your appointments to get your biannual hemoglobin A1C checked, or even your blood glucose check. It's going to be important for you to always remain on top of what you're eating and how you're processing food. Now, another thing I want you to also consider is that if you are a smoker, to please stop smoking. It's going to be important for your overall health, not only your oral health, but your heart, your lung, your overall health, to remain healthy as possible. Now, a third uncommon symptom of inflammation is poor sleep. Now, this one you might be thinking, no, that doesn't make sense. But hear me out first. If you're waking up tired after 7 to 8 hours of sleep, so you're not getting that sleep that allows you to wake up rested rested and restored and reinvigorated, that means inflammation might be a part. So many of us know that when we are sleeping, that is when cells regenerate themselves. That is when we have the opportunity to restore, our cells from being exposed to the elements of the world, including the stress and the environmental toxins, for example. One thing you want to consider is that there are multiple studies that show poor sleep raises inflammatory markers like interleukin and C-reactive protein, which I just mentioned before. So women in midlife, with a lot of us going through a lot of things, young children, older parents, multiple jobs, trying to figure out our finances, personal relationships and friendships that are shifting and changing, in addition to what is going on with our bodies, it's a lot. So I want you to consider how sleep is impacted by your change in life, especially since we're going through perimenopause or menopause. So what you can do: number one, keep a consistent sleep schedule. So your wake and sleep schedule, as much as you can, stick with it and ensuring that you get that 7 to 8 hours of sleep, get morning sunlight for your vitamin D, as well as limit caffeine in the afternoon. So whether that's coffee or black or green tea, and once you hit 12 p.m., 1 p.m. your time, please stop drinking, because it takes about 6 hours to even reach half-life of that caffeine. So you want to be careful not to, be drinking caffeine or drinking too much caffeine past that certain time. Also, you might want to try a calming app. Now, this one, somebody mentioned this to me years ago in one of my videos. She said she tries a particular app that helps her calm and wind down before going to bed, because sometimes it takes women a certain amount of hours, a certain amount of time to actually wind down from the day's stresses. So maybe an app could help, like a free app that helps you calm down, rest, and rewind, as well as, I believe, white noise. I know there's a free YouTube channels that have white background noise that can help you relax and get into a good sleep mood. And then again, if this chronic insomnia persists, talk to your pharmacist or talk to your physician or your nurse practitioner or your healthcare provider to see how they can help. I've talked about melatonin on my channel. I've also talked about magnesium on my channel. I'll leave those videos and I'll link to those videos, because there is a certain type of magnesium that can actually help you with sleep if you're not. And magnesium is such an important vitamin and nutrient that many of us women are not taking. So I will leave a link to that video in the description below. Now, the fourth and last uncommon symptom of inflammation that I want to talk to you about includes persistent low mood or brain fog that has no explanation. Now, with the perimenopausal stage, we know that brain fog, anxiety, and depression can be common symptoms experienced by certain women going through that transition. Not all women, but some women. But it's been shown that inflammation doesn't just affect the body, but it can also affect the brain. Now, research shows that there is a bidirectional link between inflammation and depression. That means inflammation can cause changes in mood and thinking, and mood can cause changes in can fuel inflammation. So mood can fuel inflammation. So some things I want you to consider: pay attention to how you're moving. Are you exercising enough? Is your body moving? Are you stretching enough? Are you squatting enough? In addition to how you are moving. So are you doing weight training, strength training, resistance training, aerobic training? So are you getting your cardio in to burn off, that energy? And also think about an anti-inflammatory diet. So we hear a lot about the Mediterranean diet, which is a really good diet. So I want to talk to you about it, because I want to be specific of what that Mediterranean diet looks like. So it is a plant-focused eating style that is rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, legumes, olive oil, with moderate amounts of fish, poultry, and dairy, and limited red meat and processed foods. That's one thing to really take note of what this Mediterranean diet is, because I think a lot of times people throw around the word try Mediterranean diet, and then some of us are like, what is that? I mean, we can look it up, but this is in a nutshell, this is what it is. Now, how you prepare your food is also going to be important, and I'm going to talk about that in another video, is what spices can be good for you to not only improve your health but flavor up your food. Okay, moving on. So other things you can do for that persistent low mood and brain fog that doesn't have an explanation, but it's tied to perimenopause, is manage your stress, as well as check in with your healthcare provider. I think many women have been so discouraged from talking about perimenopause and menopause, but I would prefer that women seek a person or provider who's better qualified and trained in that area. And it's becoming more and more prevalent that healthcare providers like pharmacists, nurses, and physicians, and even some social workers become, menopause specialists so that they can understand how to better treat their patients. So if these symptoms persist and they keep sticking around, know that there are things you can do to help yourself. And I also want you to check your supplement line. What supplements are you taking? I'm an advocate for taking supplements if they help you. So if you are trying to improve mood, if you are trying to improve, adapt to stress better, consider ashwagandha or holy basil. And, check out this video here, because I talked about these supplements and these natural herbal remedies that might actually be of benefit to you. So I'll leave a link to my adaptogen video right here, and I'll also leave a link to my ashwagandha video that might be beneficial for you. So think about whether you're experiencing this. It's not allergy season and you're having dry eyes, watery eyes, or gritty eyes. Also think about if you're having bleeding gums that are coming out of nowhere. Please, ladies, take care of your teeth and your gums. It's going to be really important as you are getting older. Especially, bone health is important. Our teeth are exposed bones, so you need to take care of everything going on in your mouth. And then also work on your sleep. I will continue to tell you to work on your sleep, and I will be trying to work on my sleep as well. So I'm trying to get to bed at a good time, get as much sleep as I can before waking up for Fajr prayer or for Tahajjud and things of that nature. And also, if you're experiencing brain fog, please try and do your best to get into the habit of taking care of your mental capabilities, because it's really important for you to be able to think clearly and be cognizant of what you're saying, what you're doing, and how you're moving in life. So these are some subtle signals of inflammation, especially for women after 40. If any of these sound familiar to you, I encourage you to take a closer look and keep working on you so that you can get better. And if you find this helpful, please let me know in the comments. And also, I'm always doing call to actions for you guys to let me know in the comment section what you want to hear. I don't hear that much, but when I do try to produce the videos out there so that you can see. And yeah, just let me know how you're feeling. If you have experienced any of these, if you feel open enough to share, safe enough to share. If not, that's okay. There's no pressure to share your personal experience. It's just a call to do so. And yeah, I do thank you for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.